Hey YouTube, this is the second video of the Malachi series. I encourage you to watch the first video, which is just the introduction that explains why I am presenting this series to you guys. But the title of this video is called Restoring the Fear of the Lord. So something that I've been praying for from the beginning of this year is that the Lord would unite the church in San Antonio and in America to fear his name. In the book of Malachi, the priests are rebuked for not fearing him. Their worship has become outer form with no heart substance. And how did the fear of the Lord get stolen from their hearts? The answer, I would argue, is spiritual blindness. So in Malachi 1, 8 through 13, the Lord rebukes the priests for offering the blind, the stolen, the lame, and the sick as offerings. I was actually running one day and just talking to the Lord and asking him about what is the sick and who are the sick, the stolen, and the blind. And the Lord spoke to me, and I paraphrase, but he said that we, the church, actually are the blind, the lame, the sick, and the stolen sacrifice. And so each deficiency, lame, blind, etc., targets a specific issue in the church presently. But what I want to discuss in this video is the issue of spiritual blindness and how it's connected to losing the fear of the Lord. And so anyways, spiritual blindness leads to a lack of the fear of the Lord. If we do not see him and know him rightly, we cannot fear him. We become what we worship, and we worship what we feed on and what we set our attention on. So Jesus noted that salvation is linked to worshiping with understanding. We are transformed into God's glory as we behold him. In like manner, if our view of God becomes perverted, then we will take on those attributes. If we worship idols, we will become like those idols, deaf, mute, blind, dumb, etc. This is what Psalm 106, 19 through 20 and Jeremiah 2:11 refers to as exchanging their glory. So they traded the glory of God for the glory of idols who do not speak, see, or hear. This is why eyesight is so important. It says in Psalms 119, 130 that the entrance of his words brings light, and in Psalm 19:8, the commandments of the Lord are pure, and they enlighten our eyes. Therefore, the law of the Lord gives us eyes to see the glory of God. Seeing God's glory imparts the fear of the Lord, which causes us to worship him rightly, thereby conforming us into his image. So, consequently, if the law is not honored, the lawgiver is not revealed, and heart blindness begins to ensue, eventually leading to idolatry and vain worship. Spiritual blindness comes when the commandments and words of men begin to take precedent over God's word in people's hearts and minds. Isaiah 29:13 says, "Their fear towards me is taught by the commandments of men." And Isaiah 29, 9 through 24, and also chapter 39 through verses 9 through 10 show us how rejecting sound doctrine and receiving the commandments of men leads to a quenching of the fear of the Lord. So the church is suffering from processed teachings of men, and consequently the fear of the Lord at large has been lost, where we are no longer the voice but a fading echo, and this is not okay. So we have taken on the glory of the unsound doctrine that we have been feeding upon, leaving us powerless and compromised. And God warns the priests in Malachi. He said, "I will spread refuse on your faces, and I have also made you contemptible and base." So the refuse is the processed food, which I believe is the teachings of men that they have been feeding on at the Lord's table. Their faces or their countenance, the glory, has now taken on the countenance of what they have been eating. They have worshipped a contemptible and base God. Therefore, their own glory has become contemptible and base. Blindness leads to more blindness. Jesus rebuked the spiritual leaders of the day for being blind guides. And today, the Church of America has lost the fear of the Lord through feeding on the teachings of men. So, spiritual blindness has led to vain worship that is devoid of the power of God. When the law of God is no longer honored rightly from the pulpit. But I have good news. The good news is that Jesus is coming to restore, whether it's through, like I said, it's a visitation of his spirit or his second coming. He's going to restore sight to the blind through bringing honor to the law and declaring the name of the Father through sound teaching. And passages that you can find this are Isaiah 42, 16 through 22, Isaiah 35, 5 through 10, Isaiah 29:18, verses 18 and 24, and Luke 4:18. So once again, if you have comments, questions, please email me at f.charleslochte@gmail.com, or you can put comments in the YouTube feed below. All right, thank you very much.